It's January. The year is just beginning, and you know what that means. It's CES time once again. A time where all the major tech companies out there come together and announce and reveal cool and interesting technology and advancements in all sorts of industries, from robotics, automobiles, and the one we care about most, gaming. Recently, we've been seeing a lot of leaks and rumors about the potential of AMD finally unveiling the Z2 line of chips, the successor to the Z1 chips found in the RG Ally, the Legion Go, the RG Ally X, etc. While those chips have been performing quite admirably, the next generation of chips are right around the corner, and we already have a few devices already coming out with those newer chips, with the new 890M and 880M graphics, and those are by far superior to what we've had before. But the new Z2 Extreme chips that have been unveiled at CES look to be amazing, except one. But we'll get to that. AMD unveiled a bunch of new information about their new desktop gaming cards, and alongside that is new information about CPUs. The new X3D chips are out, unveiling new X3D chips coming to mobile platforms, just a whole slew of new mobile processors with a bunch of different SKUs that for the layman is going to be functionally impossible to fully understand. But what matters most to us is the Z2 line of chips. Thankfully, it is incredibly simple to understand what's happening here. There's the base model, Z2, and the higher end, more powerful model, the Z2 Extreme, which some might you think, oh, that's super easy. Well, they decided to go and bungle it with the new edition this generation, the AMD Ryzen Z2 Go. The Z2 Go is the chip that I'm less than enthused about. Assuming it comes at a decent price, I could be convinced that this is a decent chip. But with performance going to be worse than the last generation chips we expect, it's kind of a disappointment. Being comparable to the original Z1 in the Steam Deck, somewhere in between there is the expected level of performance of this Z2 Go chip. And that's partially because it's only using Zen 4 Plus, an older architecture in comparison to all the other chips AMD is releasing. Therefore, it loses some of the battery enhancements, the more efficient IPC improvements, the overall just more efficient design, the more powerful design, which, assuming if they sell it at a pretty darn cheap price of anywhere between $300 to $400, I can definitely see this being an amazing value chip, but not really worth it if it's over that price. Like the moment you start hitting $500, you should just buy an RG Ally with a Z1 Extreme in it, and you're gonna be having a much better experience with the same amount of battery life. But instead, you get significantly more performance. The Z2 Go has 4 cores, 8 threads, clocked at 4.3 GHz max boost speed. It has 10 megabytes of cache, and with a TDP of anywhere between 15 to 30, and it has 12 CUs. Those are compute units. Essentially, those are the graphics cores that are actually playing the games. The more of those you have, the more performance you'll have. But it's not always that simple. The new AMD base Z2 chip has 8 cores, 16 threads, a max turbo boost clock of 5.1 GHz, 24 megabytes of cache, the same 15 to 30 watt TDP, and the same 12 CUs of graphics power. But in this context, you might think, oh, they must perform the same, but it just has more CPU cores and has a higher boost clock with some extra cache. But it's not that simple. See, the new Z2 chips, generally speaking, the Z2 and the Z2 Extreme, are in a much newer generation of AMD's CPU and GPU architecture, allowing them to perform significantly better. So calling it the Z2 Go might lead people to believe and expect same level generational improvements. But it's built off of technology that is at this point 2 or 3 years old. So essentially, I think the Z2 Go might not be the best value, and at worst, it's misleading customers into thinking that they're buying a nicer product, a more powerful product than they realistically are. But the Z2 non-extreme chip does seem to be a pretty decent chip, and being comparatively identical to the AMD Ryzen AI 9 365 or the Ryzen AMD AI 7 Pro 360. These names are terrible, but you can find the same integrated graphics, the 12CU 880M graphics found in the new Z2 chip, in these processors as well. So we have pretty decent data on these processors already, so we know roughly how the Z2 chip is going to perform. Do bear in mind, it does have a margin of error. This Z2 chips, while being functionally identical, they do get extra driver magic to make them run a little bit better. Just more designed and optimized for gaming, opposed to the more general purpose that you might find in just standard CPUs that happen to have 880M graphics, which those still will perform phenomenally, but in my experience, the Z1 or the Z2 chips should perform a little bit better or functionally the same depending on the game. So that basically means we essentially know how these processors are going to perform in terms of gaming and just overall CPU power. Same thing goes for the Z2 Extreme. That is essentially an AMD AI9 HX375 with the 890M graphics. That is 16 CUs and has performed quite well, being in comparison to a desktop 1650, which, granted, that is not a powerful or relevant card nowadays. It still puts up at least decent 1080p low-medium performance. And I would suspect you could drop that down to 720p and get pretty much a locked 60 FPS in pretty much any game you would realistically want to play, assuming you have enough RAM to support it. We talked a lot how exciting these new AMD chips are and how exciting it is to see them come in new products. Something interesting about new products, though, is that AMD put out a slide during their whole showcase about AMD Ryzen Z2 processors, and AMD continues to meet the explosive growth and demand in the handheld gaming segments, implying the devices they show on screen all use Z2 or Z1 chips, or going to use those chips in the future. And that showed a Legion Go, obviously, uses a Z1 Extreme chip, RG Ally uses both the original Z1 and a Z1 Extreme chip, and the Steam Deck, which doesn't use any AMD Z1 or Z affiliated chips. It is a custom silicon Rembrandt or Renoir chip or something like that. It is a significantly older technology and architecture for this processor found inside the Steam Deck and was in development long before this whole Z platform was even a twinkle in the eye of the CEO of AMD. AMD quickly took down the Steam Deck after the showcase had happened, mainly because it was implying a lot of things for a Steam Deck 2, which, unlikely to be true, it just probably meant, oh, we work with all sorts of companies, and the Steam Deck being the most popular example of a PC handheld. That's probably why it ended up there, but it'd be pretty interesting to see if a Steam Deck 2 would come out with a Z2 chip in it, because I think that is a decent enough performance increase that Valve might start considering making a Steam Deck 2. Maybe not Z2, but maybe Z3. I would love to hear what you guys think about these new CPU announcements. Are you excited for the next generation of Z2 chips? And stay tuned for more CES coverage, because I have a banger of a video coming out on Friday for the new Legion Go announcements. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All the social media coverage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.